welcome to the SBP podcast, the voice of mobile film. I'm your host, Susie Botello, and this is episode 30. We have a couple of news updates for you. The date for submissions to the 8th International Mobile Film Festival in San Diego is coming up on June 19th. That's next month. Yay! Okay, that's it for now. The website to get details is www.internationalmobilefilmfestival.com. Cristina Isoli. She is our guest on the SBP podcast. We're giving a voice to Cristina because her film, which is not released yet to the public, is up there with the greatest of mobile films. I, personally, had the privilege of watching it, and we provide a link to the trailer on our show notes, and this is the trailer for that film. And we are also going to provide, along with that, another link to another video which she and her partner, Jacques Mantovani, submitted to the International Mobile Film Festival in 2016. Cristina is from Italy, but she moved to London, and that's where she is right now. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm really glad that we get to share it with you. If you've been holding back on making a film using your smartphone camera, then this podcast may give you that little extra push that you needed to go for it. And speaking of going for it, let's go. Hi guys, I'm here with Cristina Isoli. She is in London, and I'm really excited about introducing her to you because she's made a film which is outstanding in quality, the story. You actually won't believe that it was shot with a phone. But I want to introduce you to her now. Hi, Cree. How are you?
Oh, hi, Susanna. Really well, thank you. And thanks a lot for having me here. Good morning, San Diego, if it's morning.
Right? Even though it's completely late at night here, but in London, what time is it over there right now for you?
It's about 7,
10
to 7. Yeah, 10 to 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's at least it's not 5 a.m, right?
No, it's not, luckily. Yeah, exactly. It might be late there, so I'm sorry for you.
Oh, no problem. We're both in the same, we both have the same energy, I can tell, so.
Yeah, exactly. Let's keep on.
Yeah, right. So, I want to share with our listeners a little bit about how we met, because we've never really met. We've never talked before. But Cristina Cree was actually, she and, how do you pronounce his name? Giacomo?
Oh, you can call him Jack.
Jack. Okay.
Yeah.
Mantovani.
Yes. Really difficult.
Well, it's like I want to go Mantovani.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect.
Well, there you go, guys.
The Italian accent.
Yeah, right. So Jack and you submitted a film to us back in 2016 for our film festival, and it was called History Lesson. And we've sort of connected. We've kept in touch here and there. And out of the blue, you sent me a link for a film, which unfortunately yet we can't share it because it's going through the festival circuit. But it is an amazing film. And when I saw that, I thought, you know what? I think the listeners for our podcast would love to meet you, and of course we will share the trailer with you. So Cristina, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your background and where you come, what brought you into the film industry in the first place before we talk about your film?
Sure. First of all, thanks a lot for your kind word. I really appreciate it. You're really great. Thanks a lot. So, hi everybody. My name is Cristina. I'm an indie producer, Italian indie producer based in London. So, what brought me to filmmaking is I didn't nothing really brought me. I think I born with passion for film because since I was really, really little, there was only two places where my parents could have me not to cry. One was inside the cinema room, and one was inside the car. So there was passion for the car as Italian and for cinema. And since the really early age of 8 years old, when my father asked me, "What would you do when you grow up?" I said, "Well, I want to work in film industry." But because I was a little kid, I didn't really know which role I would fit on. I just knew it that I loved the industry, and that is the world where I wanted to be. Before, to be honest, to arrive where I am now, it took me a while and a kind of, let's say, difficult path because I had various interruptions. I started in theater as theater actress in the beginning, and since when I was 16 to 25. But then theater, despite I love it, didn't really satisfy me. Also because I wanted to create new stories. So the first step for me was saying, okay, let's try to found my own stage company. But again, I tried that path, but I said, I'm not sure. I would like to tell the story to a wider audience. So after various trying and failure, because this is about life and filmmaking, right. You need to try and you fail and then you carry on. I finally met my business partner, Jack, in Venice at the Venice Film Festival. And we found out that we share the same idea. We really go on well together, the same vision for film. And we decided to move together in London in 2009 to pursue this dream. And actually, London was the right place to be for us and still is the right place to be, at least as a European, because it's really close. And there we start to produce short film. We found our own small production company, Avant-Garde Pictures. And bear in mind that since 2009 until 2017, I just produced. So that was my role. But then something changed in 2017 because I felt for the very first time the need of create something from scratch, tell my really own story. And that is how Lightning is born, because I had the support of Jack, which said, look, Cristina, you always produce my story, but you never really challenge yourself as writer and director. Why you don't try then? So it started like a bet, let's say. It was not really in my mind to do my first short film as director, writer, director. And in the beginning, I said, no, I don't want to do that because you know what? I'm not a director. I don't think I have a strong voice or something to tell. But he pushed. He said, no, you have to do it. So I said, okay, let's do it. And Lightning came out. And I guess the story is really simple, but the concept is quite strong because it's about people meeting and communication. And when I started to approach people for this project, I was quite surprised because it was really easy to get people into the project. So I started to think, maybe the film is not that bad then, and I can do it. So that was the moment in which the project really started, when I also had part of the crew in and everything. But the most important thing is about this project, and I think is what our audience want to know, is that since the very beginning, I said, I want to do this project and film it with a mobile phone. And the reason why I want to do it with a mobile phone is because, first of all, with Jack, we had already other background or shooting short film with a mobile phone, and also short documentary like History Lesson, as you said, which we are still really proud of it, and we are really thankful that we sent to you the film, because if we are here talking now, it's thanks to that film.
And you both, I remember having some sort of a conversation with him through an email when, right before the film, between the film festival and after being accepted, where he was very passionate about the concept of mobile filmmaking. So you guys
Yes.
were really big on, believing in it. I remember I was sharing my ideas and my passion, basically, and my belief. And he was, just parallel to that as well, which I really appreciated. And especially, for me, back then, it was hard to find people. I mean, people submit films, they get into it, but at that time, I hadn't really had any real conversations with anybody like that, So it was really, really great. And so it was easier probably because of that, for him to push you in that way and for you to
Exactly.
accept that, huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you said, for me, for him, mobile filmmaking is not something like a second class
Right.
filmmaking. Is actually a democratic way, and I share this too, to do filmmaking and to share ideas and to produce content in a world where we know that every year the number of short film that we produce is so much bigger than what we actually see in the screen. And most of the time, people doesn't really have enough money to buy a DLS camera or rent a camera. And the fact that we live in this technological revolution and we have mobile phones that shot in 4K, because the mobile phone that we did Lightning and also History Lesson has more than HD quality, 4K. We said we need to embrace this one fully, because it's not because it gives us voice, but also because it's a revolution that democratizes this media, and we can show to other people that mobile filmmaking is not something that you can choose like second option, but it can be a real option, and you can do a film, you can do it well, and you can sell it and send it around. And so, yeah, our voice is really strong on this, and it's particularly Jack. He's working quite a lot in doing content with film. Actually, I can anticipate you something, that he's actually at the moment working on 2 documentaries.
Wow.
One short documentary is about the process that scar girls go through to get rid of her scars, tattooing over her skin, and he's doing this with a mobile phone, a OnePlus again, and then he's doing a long documentary about graffiti, so street art, and he chooses particularly in both cases the mobile phone, because not only, as we said, he allowed you to have a great quality, but help you to reduce the budget, help you to reduce the crew, and you move faster, and you
can be sneaky.
Exactly. And basically, because you are using a mobile phone, you can document pretty much everything, and you don't really need, sometimes in some cases, a permission to do it. Because if you are a small crew, in London, I bet also San Diego, whatever, you don't really need a permission. And also, as you said, you can be sneaky. If you see something that is happening, you can take out the camera from your pocket and just record.
I think
it also a revolution.
Yeah, I think, see, I love documentaries. I mean, to me, that's something I really feel for, is documentary filmmaking. And I believe, because I've had that experience of doing that in video production for many years, that when you interview someone, the phone just makes them feel so much more comfortable.
Exactly.
And they open up to that a little more than they do with a big camera.
Exactly. It's like you and I now talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more easy doing it in this way. And again, we are in a technological revolution we are doing via Skype.
Yeah.
Okay. And another time we wouldn't think that we could possibly talk from other part of the world, li- uh, listen to us so clearly, and even watch ourselves.
Well,
And
even with the podcast itself, which is
exactly.
in its own way is sort of a revolution right now as well. And you know, the reason why I chose this is because of people like you. There are people that I want to hear more about their stories. I love talking to people, and it really is a story sharing back and forth, you know, between people. And you know, people who are listening right now, you know, for you, this is like I don't know, when you go to a coffee shop and you get a coffee, or you're waiting and there's a couple of people sitting at a table right there and they're having a conversation about something that you find interesting, you know,
Exactly.
and you're listening in and you almost want to jump in, you know, but obviously you can't just jump in, but I do keep you in mind, you know. But this is
Yeah,
a more in-depth conversation. In video it gets limited, you know. An
exactly.
interview,
Yeah.
you know, it's like an interview, it's a question and answer type thing, and there's only so much you can do with that. But with a podcast, I mean, it could go on for an hour, sometimes even 2 hours, and it's just like staying up at night, sitting there and having, you know, a discussion together, and it can be more
No,
passionate.
yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because looking the way in which we are talking, we feel like, I think is perceived like quite, old friends, confident, because it's a really an easy medium and allowed you to, as you said, because you don't have a camera in front of you or all these tools, it doesn't distract you. So
Yeah.
you can be really open. And by the way, what you said before about sharing experience,
Mhm.
I'm really grateful that we are doing this one, because I strongly believe that we need to share our experience and our path in life, because you never know who is the other person listening in this
Right.
moment. And most of the time, there was a moment in my life in which I really feel alone, in this process. Sometimes happen with, and it could happen that you're having a point that you said, why am I doing all of this? Why am I compared, struggling, and using all my time, also my free time to do filmmaking? And when at the end of the day, sounds like the result comes slowly. And in the end, is not. Because as we said, only people who push it and keep going, we will see the end, and we will see that everything that you do in your life has a meaning, and it brought you to something. And this is the reason why I'm happy to talk here, because out there might be another me or another you,
Right.
and the only thing that they need is understand that you're not alone. Everybody at certain point feel this feeling, "Oh, I'm alone, I'm doing this." No, you're not. Everybody pass through that. Carry on, don't give up.
Well, I've met, and I'm sure you have too, on film sets. There, you know, people in different films, experiences that you've had, where you meet people that are part of the crew and they're knocking themselves out and they're doing all this work, and they have a, you know, like in my circumstance, which really pushed me to finally launch this back in 2009. I was working in Big Bear, and there was a guy that had a screenplay in his back pocket, and I said, "What?" He said, "Oh, will you read this? Will you look at it?" And you know, I glanced at it and I started, you know, I was just looking over it and I'm going, God, this is almost better than what we're working on, you know, right now.
Yes.
And I'm saying, and I love stories, right, from people, and I love to if I can somehow to inspire somebody to follow their dream, because you know we all have dreams, and those are probably the
Exactly.
most important thing in our lives. If you're listening right now and you have a dream and you have people in your life telling you, well, but first you got to do this and first you got to do that, I'm not going to tell you who to listen to or not or what to
Yeah,
do, but
exactly.
before
But
you
it's
know it,
no.
all the time has gone by.
Exactly.
so,
So
so yeah.
yeah.
So that's the whole thing. So like what you're doing, one of the reasons why you're on this is you did such a great job in this film. And there are listeners out there who maybe they're just like 1 inch away from actually just trying it out, because you have to try before you do, right? So you try
Exactly.
it out, you could just pretend, just shoot stuff and learn from them. And then I'm hoping that this, and Christina will be an inspiration for you. And you shot this on because I know we were talking about the quality, but they might be wondering, well, what phone did you use? Honestly, it's whatever phone you have is good. But if you want to know what Christina used, you used a OnePlus 5 phone, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I didn't know if I could say the name of the phone, but yeah, when you will see the film, that is the phone. And actually, is a choice that I made because I already work in other shorts. As you know, even history lesson was shot in with the same phone. And at the end of the day, you want to shoot with something that you really trust. You already had the experience before because, as I said, for us, mobile filmmaking is not a second class. It's
Right.
actually a choice that we made. So you want to get the best out of it.
Yeah, and
And
you know what? You just said something really interesting that I do want to point out, if you don't mind, also
no,
that,
no, sure.
you used the OnePlus 5 in 2016. It's 2018, and you haven't said, well, I got a new phone so that I could learn it. Because what happens a
Exactly,
lot, that way you're using one that you're familiar with. It's great, it's got great quality, it produces great results. And that way you can focus more on your film, on the story, right?
exactly, exactly. Because the last things that you want when you are doing, especially a short film or a short documentary or documentary with a mobile phone, the mobile phone is not a phone in that moment because you're using the camera. That is your tools, is your camera. So you want to go with something that, as you said, you're confident and you're sure that you can waste less energies as possible and focus absolutely in the film, the storytelling, the flow, the continuity. And there was moment in which you said, but sometimes, Apple, the iPhone or the Samsung maybe can be great, whatever, but I don't have time. I can't take this risk. I already work with this phone, and for what I needed, the performance for me was outstanding. And you saw history lesson, and it was, I think, in my opinion, I don't want to judge, but I think it was well made from a
Yes.
visual point of view. So I said, there is no point to change now. It's not a bet that you want to take. We take a bet in, say, mobile phone, but then when you find the right phone, stick with that. Don't let the marker tell you, oh, this phone is best, blah, blah, blah. If you have time to test it, okay, do it. But if there is something that makes you feel confident, I would say go with that because the most important for you is the story and have achieved what you want, have a great result.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it is a phone too. Sometimes we forget we're talking about a phone after
yeah,
all.
exactly.
So there's a lot of things to our phone other than the camera that matter a lot. So, my advice is if you find a phone that works really well for making films and you feel like, well, it's older and I want the newer one, you know what? Just keep the other one for filming then and get a new one,
Exactly.
and then practice with the new one, but, and things like that. But don't get a phone and just get a phone just because you want to make a movie is I think we're both trying to say that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if I may add something
Yeah.
about doing filmmaking with the phone, is that sometimes people, when you said you have made a film with a mobile phone, they just think at this small rectangular tools, okay? But it's not just that. Doesn't mean that because I've done a film with a mobile phone that I just hold in my hands the mobile phone. You can it become a proper camera because, for example, for lightning, if have you seen if you saw some scene, especially in the beginning, there is a kind of long take that
Yeah.
has been shot in the street, and that was carried out because the mobile phone was standing on a mini Steadicam.
Mm.
So there is all a word around. And other things that I wanted in the beginning for lightning, I was planning to use Momo lenses. So some lenses to mount in the on the camera of the phone to have more depth of field and all of.
Yes, because I noticed that it did have a lot more. I mean, it looks like it could have been shot with a DSLR.
Yeah, exactly. Then there was Jack, who was obviously supportive in this project, and he was the producer in this case of this project. He wanted also to use Hazel machine, to create to have the background a little bit uh, out of focus, so to take out the character. But my choice was different in this case. As you can see in Lightning, everything is absolutely non focus,
Yeah.
and the choice was because I thought it was easier with a mobile phone in this case, but also because I wanted to create a portrait. So
Hmm.
I like the idea that the characters stand with the background. And
And your film set, I must tell you, and see, when I'm telling you these things, our listeners may be taking notes. These things are important because I'm going to
okay,
compliment you on something now. Um,
that's
there's so
kind.
much to this film that made it. There's so many details, and your film set. You paid a lot of attention in painting the film set.
Yes, colors,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah, absolutely. So there was three people coming back to Lightning that was the key of this film. First of all was Jack because he basically launched me a bet and I took it and he said, no worries. If you accept this bet, I will produce it. And so I said, okay, good. It's good. I'm happy. Jack is on. So we got the first one. The second one was my really close friend and collaborator, Cecilia Mazzarella, who's English despite the name, and she's my script editor because obviously being my mother language being Italian, I wanted to make sure that the script was much more English than possible,
Yeah.
that an audience can understand. But the third person, which was really important in terms of visual, was my sister, who is a fashion designer and a stylist. And since
Mm.
the very beginning, we start to work really hard on colors. So if you check the outfits that the character are wearing,
Yeah.
nothing is left to the case. For example, summer headphones, they are the same color of the mug in the cafe. And when she's wearing her yellow top in the laundrette, that is exactly the primary color that we choose because it contrasts with the background.
Well,
So it's
even the laundromat scene, the colors scheme in there was awesome.
Oh, thank you. It was quite funny because we plan events. You know that there is the scene where she's talking and behind her there is all the um, bath towel going around.
Yeah.
So even the color of the bath towel was planned
Yeah.
before to have a kind of colorful movement. It was, yeah, it was, I'm glad that you said that because this is what I mean when mobile filmmaking. It doesn't have necessary to be second class. It can be a proper way to do filmmaking, because doesn't mean that because you're doing something with the mobile phone, it has to be just shoot it, that's it. No, it can be a proper film, and done with all the classic
and
rule.
and you're not in a hurry. It's not like, for the
Exactly.
for the most part. I mean, you're shooting on a phone. You probably don't need to worry like in a regular film production where you're getting funding because you don't have several $1 million.
Exactly.
So you've got the pressure of that. Well, you don't have necessarily. I mean, you do have deadlines in particular film festivals, but your main focus is to record that story and then finish it all the way through in your way. It's your story. And so all these little details, like Christina is mentioning, are very important to your final product, really, which is your film. And once it's done, it's done, you know. So it's like the spices, right? Like adding spices on food.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, this is why I'm really a positive, you know, proposer of mobile filmmaking in case of low budget. Because as you said, you probably own the phone. So you not necessarily might own a camera, but everybody own a phone, you know, and pretty much a decent phone now in terms of camera. So you already got the first tools that allowed you to record and film it. And then when you put up a production, you don't really need, as you said, much money then, because you are not tying to renting cost or other things. And then, as I said again, because it is relative light, portable, and everything, you reduce quite a lot of cost in transport, people working with you. So it's something that can allow you, honestly, to translate your dreams to reality and your vision. And as I said, it's a democratic way to make filmmaking. Democratic way, I mean, it democratizes the medium, because as we know, in the past, this wouldn't be possible. I think until 20 years ago, I don't know if I could have done what I do it, because maybe I'm wrong, but I think until 20, 30 years ago, they still were doing in film rather than digital. Am I right or wrong?
Well, let me see.
Maybe a little bit more
Yeah,
back
I
in
think it
time.
was just starting to break into the digital scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, because well, and still there are still people using film, of course.
Yeah,
You know,
which I'm not against,
but the
obviously.
problem with that too is time. Like you know, you can spend millions of dollars on everything, but you can't, and you can stretch out your production, but you can't buy the time in a day. There's 24
Exactly.
hours in a day. Period. There's only so much time of daylight and nighttime. And those are very important, by the way, when you're making a film. You need to use your daylight or your nighttime, for depending on your scenes, especially if they're outdoors, right? And that's really important. So you know, taking down a whole rig, the camera rig, and moving it to another location, that takes a few hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
No, no, absolutely. That is one point. But another things that I want to say, I don't want to that pass the message. Maybe that I'm against traditional filmmaking, whatever. Absolutely not. I love all the cinema industry in all its part. I appreciate and respect who still want to use the film, and lucky them that they can do it, as well as who does mobile filmmaking with the mobile phone, because at the end of the day, I think what is really important is the message. But most of all, if you really want to do something and get it out there, doesn't matter how much money you have. If you really have a will and you said, okay, let's do it with what I have in the best way that I have, that is the way that you have to think. And that's why I'm here talking with you. I'm really pleased also that we are having this conversation about mobile filmmaking, because I think for a lot of people is a kind of light hope, you know.
yeah.
And especially I want to thank you for being yourself a light in this world, because when I found out about your festival, as I told you before, I said this is really interesting, and it made me think, because I said, okay, I'm doing a short film with a mobile phone. I didn't really know until then that there was a kind of, let's say, market or festival circuit. And so when I saw your festival, which is great, is really professional and everything, I said, maybe so the choice that I made is not that bad. I can push with that choice, and maybe this is an opening. And what you are doing yourself as festival director, giving voice to this, is really, really important. And I think you should get credit as well for what you're doing, especially now recording a podcast. So when you are tired and you want to go to bed, maybe.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I'm very passionate about this. Thank you for the compliments. But yeah, I'm very passionate about this. So I was really looking forward to this. What happened was that, yeah, I was very tired, but as soon as it came time to call you and to do this, I feel like it could be 3 in the afternoon right now. So
Yeah, you got thrill. Exactly. Yes, let's do. Carry on.
so it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I really do think that inspiring people to live their dream, in other words, to realize their dream is really important. And wow, that we live at a time where, like you said, everybody has a phone, but even if you don't, look around you, there's someone who does, just
Exactly.
someone not a complete stranger who you can go to and say, I really want to make this movie. And can you help me? And we can use your phone. And I think that's really important for people. But, you were saying something about, you know, um, that you don't want people to think that you're against the traditional filmmakers or anything like that. And of course you're not. And I think one of the things that you show in your film, and the way that you produced it, right? You have a crew and you have everything set up in the way that most independent films are made, with particular, you had your makeup artist and you had, your camera person, you have a director, you had a screenplay, a script, you had talented actors, which I want you to talk about for a minute here too.
Yeah.
And all that put together, just like any other film, the only difference really in your film was that you used a phone instead of a camera.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you point out to this because I want to say something else that before that I forgot. As you said, it's good to talk because we inspire other people. And myself, I was inspired by some American guys, your guys.
Yep.
In 2016, one of our short documentary, Plastic Garbage, was selected in Switzerland to another mobile film festival and was nominated as best documentary. Then it didn't win in the end, but it was good to have a nomination. So we flew there and we had this amazing time to this festival. And one of the panel at the session that we have, there was the guy, the producer of Tangerine, Chris Bergo,
Ah.
who delivered his masterclass. And I was sitting there listening to these guys. I make the premise that I watched Tangerine. I really like it. And he was explaining why he chose with a mobile phone, which was basically for budget constriction, reducing the crew and everything. And that was the moment in which inspired me because I said, well, I'm already doing that, but I could take the challenge a little bit further. I could do a short film. That was the moment in which you start to get the spark a little bit, the idea sooner or later I have to do something. And I could do, then I did it lightning, like proper, as you said, professional film set, but substituting the camera with the mobile phone. And that is something that I want to say because, you never know who you inspire. And that was my first inspiration. The second inspiration was a girl sitting next to me who was in this festival with an animation documentary, but she did it with a mobile phone,
Yeah.
which is incredible because she'd done an animation with a mobile phone. You said, how the hell do you do that? She did it. And I was talking with her. She said that it took her 2 years since the moment that she conceived the project, she thought about it and she did it, she realized. But after those 2 years, it was 3 years that she kept going around to the festival and showing her work. She was member of the jury and everything. I said, so probably the time that you invest in something, another idea that I have is not a waste because maybe it take you 1 year or 2 years, but then you got all this time back.
Yeah.
Because you are going around, showcase your work. And if you see, it's already starting with lightning because you saw the film and we are talking now about that. And
And anybody else went once the film festivals? Did any? I mean, I know you just completed it though,
yeah,
but
no, it's fine.
as soon
Yeah.
as you get the okay, we accepted it, and it starts going that route. I mean, I so, I don't, I'm not a judge in my film festival, but there are films in my film festival which I love, and I think the quality is great. So I can't say, this one has to win. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because you are the founder of the festival, then
Right.
it's up to a panel. It's
Yeah.
totally independent.
Exactly. So, but, me, just like anybody else, when they're sitting there watching a film and they see a really good film, it's like, oh, I hope that one wins. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
whatever film festival it gets into, I really hope it wins because I think they're going to
Oh, thank
notice
you.
the quality of the film. So, when I first, just for listeners, when you see the trailer, it'll give you a taste of it, okay? But you'll see that the film, and now you did something really interesting with the titles and the music and the transitions.
Oh, yes. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think it's time to explain briefly what it's about.
Yeah.
Lightning about. Lightning is a story, it has the story of an unexpected meeting between a quirky musician who just moved in London and a deaf girl who dream of becoming a pilot. And because in this film, I got these two characters that they were virtually on the opposite. One is a musician who work with sound, and the other character, she's deaf. So they really are virtually opposite, and the communication is even more difficult. And because the film is all about communication and sound and lights, I did quite a big work with colors, as we already
Mm-hmm.
speak about, and lights, but especially music. Music was really, really important. And I don't know if you noticed, but there is quite a lot of original song in there.
Yes.
And funny enough, the post production was longer and take more than the actual pre-production and production because music was so important, and I had more musicians than actors in the end of the day because. Um, and the girl that opened the credits and scored the ending song, she's an independent and emerging artist from London. And I had her scoring most of the film, plus another band that they got kind of strange name. Don't take it too bad. Dog Tablets, and then I got two composer, um, and I did all of this because, as you know, music is really important in audio in a film, but at the same time, it's costly. So I managed to meet these people. They saw the project, they like it, and I said, look, we can really create something beautiful together and collaborate. And that was a collaboration. And
How did you meet them?
basically, I meet them in various phases of life. I met Laura, which is the singer who scored the ending song at the beginning, through my previous job,
Mm,
because we were working, to pay our rent. She was
right.
in the working with me, and one day, basically, I got a delivery from Amazon, which was a massive mic for another film set, stand up. And she thought, "Oh my God, are you a singer?" I said, "No, I'm not a singer. It's for a recording outside." I said, "Why?" "Because I am a singer." So we start to talk, and since that moment, I start to go to her concert, and I actually really like her kind of music, and not because she's a friend,
Right.
because I genuinely like it. And so we always said we need to do something at some point together. She liked what I do. I like what she did. With regard the composer, Oliver, I met him always in another. I was a post-production producer for a feature film of a friend of mine, which has a really, really bad audio, and I had to take care to find somebody to recover the audio because otherwise there was no way to screen it. And I put out an ad to find a sound mixer. Um, And I found Oliver, which is also a composer. And we worked together. We went on really well. We got kind of a lot of respect. And we said when there would be time, we will work again together. And here we are in Lightning. While the other guys was my ex-colleague from EMI, because my first job was in the music industry. So I come from the music industry background. That's why there is quite a lot of music, because it's essential. And so I got back in touch with them, and I said, I got this project, read the script, let me know if you like it or not. Friends like before, if nothing happened, and they actually really like it. And these are the guy who scored the song of the Laundrette. I don't know if you remember. And yeah, so it was properly, as I said in the beginning, a kind of proper collaborative project in which people came through naturally. And I approached them in an easy way without expectation, but also strong of what I wanted. And I said, this is the project. You know me, I know you. Let me know if you want to be on board. And I'm also aware that it might be not your kind of project or taste, but they read the project and they said, yes, let's do it. And that's how we are. And that is the reason why there is quite a lot of music, and it takes quite long, the post-production, because we properly work also for the composer. We work in a way that, especially the end part, where there is the music play with lights, we try to reply the sound of how a deaf person could start perceive the music, at least for a hearing person, of course.
That's a good segue for you to talk about your actors with Andy Steele and Genevieve Barr, right?
Yes, exactly. So Genevieve Barr, she's basically my muse in this film. She's an amazing, amazing actress. She's a BAFTA nominated actress, and she's a real life deaf actress. The first time that I saw Genevieve performing was in a theater in London, quite an important theater also. And she was playing a deaf character. But because I'm not strange to non-hearing people, because one good friend of mine who is a director and work and live in Paris is deaf. So I know how to communicate with a deaf person, not like sign language, obviously, but the way in which you have to talk, because most of them is also able to lip read.
Yeah.
But I also fully aware that if you are a deaf person, you might have not really a clear voice because you don't obviously hear yourself. And in this case of this friend of mine, he virtually is not really able to speak much. Is nearly mute. But when I saw Genevieve, that she born in a hearing family, she's a deaf actress, performing, I was blown away because I thought this girl cannot be deaf. Because how can you perform in a theater without a mic or anything and have such a clear voice? So when I finished this show, I started to, research about her, because I said, I can't believe it. She can't be deaf. She can't be deaf. And then it turned out that she's a BAFTA nominated actress. She's deaf. And I said, I need to get this girl. I want to have her for Lightning. She's the right person. And Susan, I tell you honestly, and Jack knows, there was a point in which we had a small problem because she was work committed. She worked quite a lot, and I said there is no way that I do this production without her, because I at a certain point I start to shape the character around her, because she's deaf, but she can, as you saw in the film, speak really clearly English that you can understand. You can really notice. There is a small tweak in her voice that you can say, yes, there is something strange, but you can't really notice that she's deaf. But she can also lip read. So it was
I think
really interesting to work with her, because if you think about it, I'm an hearing person. She's a deaf person. I never had the experience before as a director to working with a deaf actor. So in the beginning, I was a bit nervous, because not only, it sounds like a joke, but not only, we got this communication problem we could have, I thought, but I'm also Italian, so I don't know how she will perceive my accent. So I said, oh my God, it will be a disaster. I don't know. So there was a moment in which I said, I need to meet this girl before. So we met, and our first meeting, I was so nervous. I said, oh my God, I hope she can understand me, because even if she lip read and English not be my first language, I might pronounce something with my lip syncing in a strange way. She might not understand it. But because, as I said, she's an actress and a good actress, and she born in a hearing family, so she has not been raised like with the trauma or with a kind of that she's different. She's raised like, like everybody else. So she didn't even attend specific school for deaf person. She went straight for the normal school. So she's pretty much unbelievable. She's amazing, and it was really easy to work with her on the set. Obviously, if she's if he's not facing you, you can't pretend that she can hear you talking.
That's what I was thinking about as a director.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Cut. Cut.
No, so obviously there was some scene in which we were filming her from the back. In that case, you need to have a bit of sensibility to say, okay, or you have somebody in front that give the signal that is action, right. Or like the scene on the end where there is the black and the lights start to play in her face. In that case, it was me tapping her feet, hiding behind the sofa to say, okay, now you can open the eyes.
Yeah, that's the whole trick, because you can't just get in front of your actor and say cut, action,
No, exactly.
and things like that in the middle.
No, but as I said, she's great. She's a really professional actress, and then, as you mentioned, Andy, they are both great, but two really different actors, because she's that kind of actor that if you tell her you need to do this action in this way, she exactly does in that way. And doesn't matter how many times you ask her to repeat the action, it will be exactly that way, because she knows that you want in that way. Unless you said, okay, try to tweak it and do something. Andy, on the other hand, he's you have seen him. Andy is Sean, basically. So he's amazing. He's so funny, that guy. Andy, on the other half, is completely the opposite actor. If you tell him, you need to do this action in this way, okay, he does it the first time that way, but then he will find other 20 different ways to do that single action.
So like a script supervisor's nightmare, basically, right?
A little bit. Yeah, exactly. But for the role that he required, he was perfect, because it was so fascinating to see him to deliver Sean, because there was some point in which we said, Andy is not really playing Sean. Andy is Sean.
Yeah, I was just going to say that he was the character.
Yeah, exactly. And funny enough, as I said, Genevieve, basically she had the role without she knew it. Because I decided that I would like to have her in the moment that I saw her in the theater. So I said, there is no way, I don't even need to do a casting for her. I want her. That's it. Andy, we did a casting to find his character, which is Sean. And it was quite challenging, because Sean's character seems like his character to play, but it's not really, because he's quite charming and complex as person. And to deliver it in a natural way, I needed the right actor. So we did quite a lot of research, and after a week of casting, funny enough, we had all our list. The first person of the first day of casting that walked through the door and he was dressed exactly like the character should be, Sean, was Andy. When I saw him, I was like, oh my God, is him? Is him? And my script editor and the producer said, Cristina, contain yourself. don't smile. We can tell that you want him, don't smile for the respect of the other. I said, okay, I'm fine. But when he delivered his performance, and then he walked out of the door, I said, I can close the audition. I was, and Jack said, no, you can't close the audition. It's not professional because he, you likes him, but you never know that then you find somebody else
Right.
that might deliver the same performance better. And you know what? And to be fair, I was right because there was other two actors that was really good and challenging. But Andy, it was absolutely the first person that I saw, and when he walked in, he was. Sean, he was already in the character. It was not even difficult to give him the line.
Yeah.
He even came prepared that and he already studied a little bit the sign language on internet. And I said, no, this guy is, he deserved the chance. And I'm so pleased that we go with him in the end because you saw the film.
Yeah.
Genevieve and Andy really
there
had
was
a
there
lot of alchemy. Yeah.
Yeah, and as the two characters, there is the chemistry between them that evolves. From the first scene, it's not really there as far as, you're not sure where it's going to go. But then right after that, you start to see the chemistry evolve between them. So
Exactly.
that is so important for a movie in that genre, and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it was done so well. And that's the key point. We were just talking about, the phone, the mobile phone and everything, but what it comes down to is, and this is where I think it helps to save the money from the camera and everything else that you have to deal with that, and to put it into finding some really good characters that have chemistry, not only in this genre. I mean, there are many movies that are even action films where if the characters don't have the chemistry together, it ends up showing in the film. It can be so much better when they have that.
Oh, no, absolutely. And that's why, as I said, I don't know if I mentioned, but lightning, since the moment in which I start to think about until we went to production, post-production, it took me 1 year, 1 years and a half to complete everything since the moment that I thought. And this because, as I said, as my first film as director, writer-director, I wanted to do it properly. So I said, if I challenge myself, I want to work in every aspect of the film. It has to be in a way that I'm not saying perfect, but that I will be happy with. And actors are really, really important. So when I think filmmaking industry is really a difficult industry because you can't say I got a good script, that's it. No, you need a good script, you need a good actor, you need a good crew, you need a good music, good audio. Everything has to be good because if you got a fantastic story, fantastic budget, but there is no chemistry there, or the actor are a little bit wobbling, or the audio is crap, or the music is not the right one, you can ruin the
Well,
project because Indiana is a portrait, that you do.
yeah, and that reflects on the director. And this was your directorial debut, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, I mean, it was definitely worth it. And you did such a great job at doing that because you did. It's the director has the vision, and you can't settle. You can't say, we were talking about this before about, well, you have to take another take. You have to get it right, and you can't just say, well, that's good enough as a director.
No, exactly. Because as you said, Indian is your vision, and but also because I believe you don't only own a certain point is not anymore something that lies with you, the responsibility. You got a responsibility with the film, but also most of all, I felt like with the people that was involved with the project, because since the original idea, where it was just me and these three original people, then you got more people coming into the project. And these people are people that put in their time
Yeah.
their passion, and maybe they do also other job. So at that a certain point you have to do it, not for yourself anymore, it's for them.
Yeah, you're very
At least that's
obliged.
it. Yeah, at least that it was my feeling, because I'm not failing on myself. I'm failing to others people, and that is not what I want to do. Because myself, if I was the only me as person, I
Right.
don't care if I do and I fail. I will stand up again and do it again when I got more energy. But you don't know in which point of their life is these people. Maybe that project for them could be important. For example, Laura, the singer, she was in a poor part of her life that it was a bit difficult because she just lost one of her beloved, her
Oh,
father. So for her, this project was also a way to, at least how I read it,
well,
to escape,
imagine. Yeah,
So
and imagine that it wouldn't have turned out to the vision that they had of what you have. That's all the reason too, Christina, that your vision and you sticking to it and making that work was important for them, because if they would have invested all that work and all that time and all that
exactly.
passion, and then it just turns out to be blah, you know?
No, exactly. That was, to be honest, there is moment in which you are doing it, and just the fact that it took me time, the post production, I felt really bad because with them, because I said, oh my God, now maybe they're thinking that I'm pulling out,
I
or it was
know.
all an illusion. But I said, no, but guys, stick with me. I promise you. I told you that it will be finished. It will be, but it has to be as
Yeah.
I promised. It can't be finished early because you want to see something.
And
Because otherwise everything is waste. So you need to be patient.
well, and for our listeners, that does happen a lot. For every one movie that you see completed, even the worst films that you've ever seen that are done,
Yeah.
obviously that's why you've seen them. um, the Even the worst, there are 10 that were started, that were probably even finished production and never made it past the post production. I mean, it just never went anywhere.
Exactly. But it's interesting what you said because about the worst movie,
Yeah.
because I was I'm not only a passionate about filmmaker, but I'm also a film lover myself. And before to start to doing film, I was really, really critical with the film that I watch. Okay, really picky. But now, after doing being in this industry, even if as indie or whatever, when I saw a film, even if and he's out there and he's finished, even if he's not the best one, I can't help to clap the hands to these guys because I said, you know what? Maybe it's bad, it's really bad, but you did it. There
Yeah.
is people that never even arrive to the point to finish it, So that
It's
is something that I'm
you're more
grateful.
supportive now of your basically your community,
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, as a critic, it's right to be critics because critics is essential to proceed in life, But you also have to recognize that if you are watching something or reading something, and I'm not honestly, try to convince somebody. You need to understand that everything that you saw, there is something behind, there is work behind. So it's right to be critic, and you have to be because it's constructive and you help them to improve. But don't slander something because you don't know how painful it was.
Yeah, no, and I would almost want to say sometimes I feel like the opposite is happening with me. Because with mobile filmmaking, right, in my film festival, and I'm watching all these film submissions, and the very first time, the very first film festival is like anything I saw, I would go to YouTube before I got any film submissions, and I'd look for films that were shot with a phone, and it could have been probably pretty bad quality, everything probably wasn't even a story, and I was like, oh my god, but they shot it with a phone, oh my god, that's
Exactly.
awesome. And now it's more like, Well, come on, you could do better than that. Even though it's with the phone, come on now.
Yes, no, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, as I said, I'm less critical now, but at the same time, I'm not saying, oh, just because you did it, okay,
No,
it's fine.
no,
I said, no, I recognize the effort and well
yeah.
done you that you did it. But now
No,
do the
but
best that
you're
you can.
living, yeah,
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
living the effort, and so you understand the struggle, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I understand the struggle, but as you said, in the beginning is the revolution, because you say, "Oh my God, with mobile phone, it's great,"
Yeah.
but then now is quite a while, and there is the camera with this phone evolved quite a lot, so we really can have the best out of this technology and take it serious and do serious job. So. I completely agree with you, and that is also the reason why, as I said, I'm really glad that there is people like you out there, that not only people that does film, but also people that decide to pull up a festival only to, give voice to this particular kind of new media.
Oh,
This
well,
is
yeah.
great.
People like you make it so awesome. I mean, after looking at your film, I just couldn't be any more excited. And I think our listeners, when they click, we're going to add the link to the notes and have the blog article, and we'll put the video, not the video, the trailer. Um, but later, when you're allowed to release it and they can watch it, um,
Oh
they're
yeah,
gonna,
sure.
yeah, they're just gonna be mesmerized because of the quality of the film in many ways. We're talking the music, the set, the actors, the story itself, and how when you start playing the film, you might think, oh, I know this is a mobile film. I'm going to watch out for this and learn something. But believe me, by the second scene, you're just watching a movie with a great story. You're going to forget that it was shot with a phone, that you were going to study it, in some way. You may have to watch it a few times before you want to actually analyze it in that way to recreate something like that yourself. Um,
Yeah. Well, I have to say something, two things. One, thanks a lot, but now I'm scared that people maybe had too much expectation. Maybe they said, "Oh no, it wasn't that great."
I doubt it. I doubt
Anyway,
it.
yeah.
I doubt that.
Um, Second, I want to say, and I think I is something that I hone Jack. Um, Behind every, successful film, successful in the way that you finish, you got obviously not only the actor and the people that you saw, but also the crew. And I really want to personally thank him because he was the producer in this case of this project, and he had quite a lot to take over his shoulder. And he was there since the beginning until the end. And I want to publicly say thanks to him also because as you saw, I work quite a lot on the visual of the film with the actor, the music, and so it took out the pressure of dealing with, contracts, crew,
Right.
and the location, especially location. If there is one thing of filmmaking that I hate to deal with is location,
Hmm.
because there is always one location that drop you at the end,
Oh,
at really close before to shoot. So, and honestly, I want to thank him for that. And speaking about location, the location of the bar that you saw, which
yeah.
is great, and I really love it also in terms of color, that was not the originally location that I wanted and I thought about. And actually, it was a nightmare because we got dropped from the original location 1 week before to go on the set and
Oh,
shoot. It's like, oh my God, I was about to cry. I said, no, I'm not going to do it anymore now. How can I do it?
oh. What happened? How did you fix it?
But basically, that moment it was Jack. He said, "Okay, never mind," because he knew that I don't really particularly, I'm not particularly strong to negotiate with location or deal with that.
Yeah.
And so he said, "No worries, we will find something." But I said, "Yes, but it's London. It's massive, and it's 1 week before to film." He said, "No worries." So he took over his laptop on his maze, he started to research corner bar in London. And the research gave him all the picture of the corner bar in London, that was a kind of something 2000 places or something unbelievable, a lot. And he break down the research and he arrived to 200 bar that could fit the case. And he called all the 200 bar.
Wow.
And I know. And eventually we got this location that it was, and this is funny actually, because we have to anticipate the production for this location. And usually you never anticipate the production, you delay.
Yeah.
So he found this location, and this location, as you see, is really great. They already shot, then we understand, other commercial inside. And the owner, she's a young woman, and she was in that week going to a festival, a music festival, for the first time since when she opened the bar. And she said, you know what, guys, I will be happy to have you here because I will be away from the bar for 2 days. And if there is a crew inside, I feel more safe that there will be no burger or something like that. Okay. But I'm afraid you have to anticipate the production of 3 days. I was like, oh my God, can we do it? And he said, yes, we can do it. Okay. So from the actor, can we do blah, blah, blah. So we had 2 days, that place for 2 days. But in the end of the day, we have to shoot everything only in one day because one of the actors was not available the Saturday.
Oh, no.
So we had to do all on Sunday from morning until really late evening.
Right.
But, it was crazy because that was really the first day of production. And I was so stressed that I even cried and I locked myself in the kitchen. I think what woman, I don't know. And, I was so, I said, oh my God, we are not going to finish. But we did it. It's always like that. You start late and you recoup by the end. It was the first day of production, anticipated.
Now no one's going to want to make a movie.
Oh, sorry, no.
No, but it's right. Worth it, guys. It's worth it. Trust me.
I shouldn't have shared that. No, it's fine. If you cry,
it's funny.
yourself in the kitchen or in the bathroom is fine. You will get over.
These are all great stories to share later. Battle scars or something, right?
Exactly. Especially because if you think, you said, it's nice what happened the last day. You said it's the last day. But the first day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, now you can just survive 5 days of shooting. But you did. First day, done. The worst one, let's do the other. The other one was pretty much easy and fun.
It's like if you don't like vegetables.
Yes.
And you're going, I have to eat these vegetables. So you know what? I'm just going to eat them all right now and get that over with.
I do always the same. You eat before what you don't like it. And you save what you like for the last.
Right. Well, I have a proposition here for a game.
Okay.
So I know, right? I didn't even mention this to you. So I like to play a game with our guests.
Okay.
It's called a shout out game. And so because there's a lot of people that now I'm realizing you probably want to thank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on the spot. So if someone doesn't get mentioned and they call you later and say, I listened to the podcast, you didn't even name me in the shout out game. You say, I only had 20 seconds and she never even warned me.
Oh God. Okay, fine.
So that's the deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I got a timer. So I'm going to start and I'm going to say go. And then you're just going to name everybody you can in 20 seconds.
Okay, so I just need to name them without the role and everything.
Yeah, because if you go there, then you'll probably only get
exactly.
to 2.
Oh my God, now I'm under stress. Okay, fine.
But don't cry.
No, it's fine. Otherwise, I waste time.
Don't lock yourself in the kitchen and cry now.
Okay, fine.
All right, so ready, get set, and go.
Okay, first of all, Giacomo Mantovani, Cecilia Mazzarella, Michaela Isoli, Genevieve Barr, Andy Steele, Laura Maidman, Marty King, Roberto Soave, Caroline Goblan, Camille Nava,
Okay, done.
Okay, I was really slow.
No, you got a lot of names in there. You probably got almost one per second there.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No, that was
Oh my
great.
God. It was a great game, unexpected, and really you put me on the spot because, oh my God, I need to prepare this in case I've been asked again.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you didn't. I mean, you named a lot of people. I gave you an opportunity to name a lot of people, but you were sharing stories about each one of these people, and there's no way you're going to get them all. But this way gives you an opportunity, even though I didn't warn you. But
Exactly.
that's part of the
Exactly.
challenge of the game, right? Um,
Exactly. I
that
like the game.
yeah, now you can tell everybody, I named you.
Exactly. I named you, but don't and to the people that has not been named, I said, don't listen to the podcast, please.
Well, they're going to listen to this. They're
No,
going to
I'm
know
joking.
you had probably at least 10 other names that you could have said, but you didn't get a chance to. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
Um, Now, is there anything else that we should talk about that you'd like to again, I think everything in this podcast is awesome. I mean, we had a really great discussion. I'm hoping and I think that the listeners are going to enjoy the whole entire thing. But in order to, if there's something that I didn't ask you that you'd like to point out, maybe, not like the famous last words or anything,
Yeah,
but just something you'd like to share.
well, when you asked me, I thought that I said pretty much everything, but there is actually something that I would like to share, and is I work with this actress who, for the normal world, she has a disability, which for me is not, and she's a deaf actress. Okay, and what I would like to say to people is. When you write a story where you got a character that has a disability, like is blind or non-hearing, or I don't know, maybe in a wheelchair, why you don't try to employ actors that actually are living that condition? Because just because you don't hear or you don't see doesn't mean that you are limited. Because maybe a blind person or a non-hearing person want to be an actor or is a painter. I don't know. Do you understand what I mean? So when we do something, we tell a story, try to be sensible and understand if you can give a chance to somebody that maybe wouldn't have the chance. That's it. That's my only thing that I want to say, I guess.
That's a very good point that you bring up, though. And I would add that if you have a disability, um, you can also you have stories too. You know,
Exactly. And Genevieve, for example, she never thought to become an actress until a friend of her says, "Look, there is this BBC drama that they have this deaf character. Why you don't try to propose yourself?" And she did. She did well. She really enjoyed, and since then it started something. So is a I think is win-win, double side. You because you got an authentic story told from a true voice, and also for the other person because find a way to channel their energy
yeah.
and another path in life. You never know.
Well, yeah, definitely. And I also like to think more about we all have limitations. So for
Exactly.
me, sometimes when people, you're got a disability, I don't really see it so much as a disability as
Yeah,
more of
exactly.
a limitation that someone has. Just like, for example, I can't dance. So
No,
you could say
I don't
I have
believe
a
you.
disability for dancing, okay?
You are dancing disabled.
So, that's my limit. For somebody, it could be their hearing or something else. And
Exactly. Yeah.
but yeah, and yeah, so mobile filmmaking, also because of the budget and the ease and the how comfortable it is to find even a crew, and friends, and to bring up and say, I'm doing something really interesting. I'm making a movie and I'm going to shoot it with my phone. Would you like to play the music, or would you like to film it? Or, what do you mean film it? Well, you're going to use your phone. Come on. I've seen you doing stuff, you're filming your cousins and putting it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, just
You don't
increase.
do a film.
So, challenge yourself a little more. I'll tell you how to do it, whatever. But there's so many different ways that you can bring people into the world of storytelling through film that you couldn't imagine doing in a funded production, I should say, in a regular production. Even though there's always that time, right, when in video production, for example, where your client says, "Oh, I want my son or my daughter or my brother's, whatever to
Yeah.
be in the video or something." You're like, um,
Not
okay.
sure. Not sure. Is he able to act?
Right. Or I want my brother's a musician. Oh yeah, he plays,
Okay.
and you're like in his room all the time, right? And
Yeah.
that's it. And it's like, not to say that people who just play in their room can't come out with a wonderful
Yeah,
song, but
exactly. No, no,
so
exactly. Last things, and then I'll let you go because you must be exhausted. Which I realize about talking about Genevieve, and when I said about disability, I want to highlight that I use the word disability because the word that this word
yeah.
society teach you to use, but
Yep.
for me, is the easy way to make understand. But for me, Genevieve she's a friend. I mean, for me, she's not a disabled person.
Right.
I know it's strange to say, but she just communicated in a different way. And I think at certain point in life, we need to find another word to define people. But the problem
Well,
is that we are limited as human, and we need to define situation. Otherwise, we don't understand.
thank you so much for
No,
being
thanks
a
to
guest.
you. It
No.
was really, really, really good to talk to you. Actually, I think I will miss you, but I know that you need to go to sleep.
Yeah, and you have a whole day ahead of you, so I
Exactly. I
appreciate I
need to go to
appreciate
work.
you getting up extra early this morning too. So thank you.
So thanks a lot, Suzanne. And I really wish you the best of luck with the festival and the podcast. But I know that you don't need luck because you're great. And I hope to meet you in person one day, finally.
Yeah, well, we'll see you in San Diego soon, I'm sure.
Yes, me
and
too.
and for listeners, don't forget everything that just and listen to this over again if you need to, and take notes, and really do believe that if you have a great story, you can do something amazing. And be sure to why don't you, where can people follow you? Do you have a public Facebook too?
Yes, I got also an Instagram,
Oh,
which I can share with you later because I don't have actually my real name. I got Tenenbaum because my favorite director is Wes Anderson. So I
okay.
named myself after one of his characters.
Nice. Okay.
So I will share the link with you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So how about a website just for people who don't like to read notes?
Oh, yes. So, okay, I can tell you. My public profile is Cri, Tenenbaum, Tenenbaum. And my website is avantgardepictures.com. So www at avantgardepictures.com. I know it's all difficult. Or otherwise, just put my name and surname and Google it and you find everything. It's easy.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, that is easy. Cristina without H, easily Isoli, and that's it. You find me.
It's true. It's true. I did it earlier, guys. All right. Well, goodbye to everybody, and thank you again, Christina.
Thanks to you. Good night.